So just yesterday I posted this tweet and it caused absolute havoc and chaos. 89 retweets and 58 people with something to say. But what did they have to say about this, right? I thought it would be stop talking about high price points for XRP and all of the usual stuff. But what they actually were saying was 1,500 transactions per second on the XRP ledger isn't real. That can't be done. It's actually more like 400. Even David Schwartz said it. And I was like, well, I don't necessarily think that's actually even true. So I started digging in to TPS, transactions per second, on the XRP ledger, and I couldn't believe what I found. Not only was everybody wrong in the comments, but I was also wrong. By saying 1,500, I wasn't wrong, but technically I was. And that's what we're going to get into in today's video, if my voice can make it. Now, we've all seen this page, right? This is the XRP ledger, basically looking at the transactions on the XRP ledger as they come in. It gives you all kinds of information like the ledger interval, which is the time from payment to settlement. That's 3.8 seconds. So when we talk about 3 to 5 seconds, it's actually closer to 3. And you can see all the transactions that are happening in real time live on the ledger. Each one of these is a block, validating, sending those transactions. And we have a visual of that right here. And a lot of people don't know this exists, but Ripple actually have an XRP page where they kind of update it over time to talk about XRP, the token, what it's good for and all of that. One really interesting thing to note is that right at the top, when it explains what XRP is, as this first initial overview, they say fast and green. If you think the carbon emission thing isn't important to massive businesses, countries, and financial institutions, why on earth would they have green second to fast on the front page of XRP? But that's beside the point. What I want to get down to is the features section, the benefits section that they have on the Ripple website. And this is what they say. It's scalable. The XRP ledger can consistently handle 1,500 transactions per second, 24/7. So there it is, confirmed on the website. Like, you can't tell me it's 300, you can't tell me it's 500, it's 1,500 as stated on ripple.com/XRP. There's no denying that. But this isn't the limit to what is possible. And that's a really important distinction. Because actually, if you look at this screenshot that I found of this exact same page that was actually taken 2 years ago, there's a little something underneath that is mentioned that adds to the 1,500. And you can see it right here. XRP consistently handles 1,500 transactions 24/7 and can scale to handle the same throughput as Visa, okay? Visa, and it's got an asterisk, basically saying that Visa do 65,000 transactions a second, and Ripple's XRP has the ability to scale to that degree. That was literally on the website of Ripple. Just because it's gone from the website of Ripple doesn't mean it's not possible still. It absolutely is. They're just not showcasing that anymore. So, how is this all possible? How do you get 64,000 transactions per second on the XRP ledger? And that brings us to a paper, a scientific paper, that talks about high speed, high security signatures for transactions on a blockchain. Now, it goes into the specific requirements of the computer to handle these things, but considering this was all the way back in 2011, pretty sure we've advanced from here. Essentially what we have is a protocol or a set of code with some hardware that can actually sign transactions at super high speed. And I'll tell you why that's important in a second. So you can see with the hardware they were handling with here, they could sign 109,000 signatures per second and verify 61,000 signatures per second using this technology. Why is that important? Well, this is the exact paper and the exact technology that is referred to in the payments channels xrpledger.org website. So it introduces what payment channels are, and right at the end it says we have the ability to create over 100,000 signatures per second and verify over 70,000 per second. How is this possible? Well, it's something called claims. Get very familiar with the term claims on the XRP ledger via payment channels. It's absolutely mind-blowing. Let's talk about what payment channels are in the first place. And it's very easy to understand. You've basically got two entities that will consistently transact using XRP over time. You'll hear about these things in the traditional system as payment corridors, and basically acting as a bilateral payment system between one entity and another that happens consistently. So a company might make lots of different payment channels to all of their main vendors or their main other banks that they want to send money to. But just using a payment channel couldn't exceed 1,500 transactions per second. And bear in mind, the 1,500 transactions per second is for the whole ledger, not just between one payment channel. So for example, if you had 30,000 institutions using XRP they would all have to use the 1500 transactions per second. And obviously if you're sending lots of transactions, that would get clogged up very quickly. So the XRP ledger thought, why do we have to send lots of individual payments? Why do we have to do that? Why does every single transaction have to take away one transaction per second? And their solution to this, of course, was claims. Let me explain it as an analogy and you'll completely understand it when I'm done. So imagine you've gone out to a bar with your friends. Not my scene at all, but you know, it's the best way to explain it. You go out to a bar with 10 friends and you all want to buy each other drinks. The inefficient way to do it would be to, for every round and for every drink, you go up to the bar lady and say, I want to buy a pint of Guinness, and you pay for it. And you go, I have another pint of Guinness, and pay for it, and do that 10 times for your group of friends. Then every friend basically has to buy their round, so they buy a pint as well, and they do the transactions one by one. It's a really inefficient use of things. So what do you do in this situation? Well, you open a tab, right? You tell the person all of your orders, you open a tab and say, whenever we say we want a pint, just note it down, just tally it down on a piece of paper. And at the end of the night, we'll just do all of the payment at once in one go, one transaction. And so claims are essentially the XRP ledger's bar tab. So you've got institution A, let's call it Citibank, and then you've got JP Morgan on the other side. They create a payment channel together because they send each other lots of money every single day. But instead of sending them transaction at a time, using up that 1,500 TPS on the XRP ledger, they decide that at the end of every single day, or every 2 hours only, or every 3 or 4 or 5 hours, maybe even every 10 minutes, I don't know what the cadence they would choose, they would bundle up all of the transactions within that time period and send it all as one. Now, we talked about that technology for signatures and validation, because as long as you have that tech to verify and sign, you can do all of the verification and the signing without moving value on the XRP ledger. You can essentially account for all the transactions signed and verified before the value is actually sent, meaning you can actually now scale up to 70,000 transactions a second on the XRP ledger utilizing payment channels. Now, considering Ripple has partnered with so many central banks and CBDC projects and massive institutions, payment rails are likely to be the way that value is transmitted on the XRP ledger. So if that's the likely way of doing things, I just don't see a legitimate argument where you can say the XRP ledger has such a small TPS versus other blockchains, it would be better to just use other blockchains. I don't see that as a valid argument, especially as the nature of Ripple and XRP is for institutional use. Institutions likely to use payment channels and payment corridors versus individual transactions. So that all makes sense to me, but why do we care? Okay, why do we care about TPS? Why do we care about institutions bundling up their transactions? Well, if you have to bundle up your transactions as an entity, as an institution, you have to hold enough XRP to facilitate that transfer when the transfer happens. So you have to have XRP as collateral to ensure that the payment goes through, to make sure that value gets sent. So why is that important? I know I'm going into a very small detail here. That's important because we want institutions to buy and hold XRP for its utility. Spending it is one thing, like using it to transact, but that's not the growth in the price creator. The creator of massive price in XRP is institutions buying vast amounts of XRP so they can facilitate the transfers that they need to make between their payment channels in those corridors, cross-border and institution to institution. So this is wonderful news for XRP. The XRP price would go up if institutions hoarded vast amounts of XRP. If they hoard vast amounts of XRP, there is less XRP in the circulating supply. If there's less XRP in the circulating supply and the demand is going up, supply down, demand up, price goes to the moon. There's so much happening. AMMs are going to be so influential. Tokenization on the XRP ledger is going to be so influential. Payment channels are going to be so influential. All of this is happening all at the same time. And I want to just add a little note here at the end. Cross-border payments at Ripple is a preliminary idea to get their foot into the door. I don't think cross-border payments are the end goal. It's things like XLS30D. It's things like payment channels with that expandable TPS. It's the carbon emission narrative that's going around that XRP fits perfectly. It's R3 and the Bank of International Settlements and Ripple coming together to figure out how to do this. It's all of these things coming all in at the same time that's going to bring in that institutional adoption of DeFi technology. All this demand is coming in for the XRP ledger. The supply is only going to go down meaning the price is only going to go up. If that resonates with you, hit like right now. I'm going to stop. You have to hit the like button right now, please. There's lots of other content that I've made that you might be interested in watching. Most of that content is with me with my normal voice, not this one. But if you at all got any value from this video, hit subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, hit follow if you're watching on Twitter. And I'll be back again every single weekday, regardless of whether my voice works or not. Stay emotionless, and I'll see you in the next one.